Live from Arkansas' streaming news leader, this is THV 11 Morning News at 7 on THV 11 Plus.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us here on THV 11 Plus. As you can see, Karen is off today, but Tracy and Ashley are in the building. They got weather, they got traffic, everything in between, whatever you need.
We got you covered.
That's right. Keeping you informed on what's happening to start your day.
That's all good. Yeah, weather-wise, we're starting to heat up just a little bit more. So I know schools are starting, and
we're getting there.
Yeah, we're going to have to start dealing with that, and hopefully it's not going to be too bad next week, because we were talking earlier about how the teachers need to get those kids outside.
Well, what's so weird too now, when we talked about this, and you're gonna have to deal with this next week on traffic, is like every district is going, some go on Monday, some go on Tuesday, some go on Wednesday.
Right.
It's so weird how they spaced it out, because everybody used to go back on the same day.
Right.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's a little bit staggered, which
It's
I
weird.
appreciate.
Okay.
I mean, because
Prepare.
Monday there are so many schools that are going back, and traffic is going to be just insane. But then there is a good portion that are starting, Tuesday and Wednesday. So that gives a little bit of a break when it comes to
just remember
cars on the
next
road.
week to practice grace and patience, and just know that it's going to get better. It won't be like this forever.
Right. We're already seeing heavier traffic this week. Some schools are already back, so it's just going to get worse, I guess I should say. That sounds so negative. It's going to get worse, everyone.
Oh gosh.
But that's why you're here. You're going to be able to help them with all of that.
To navigate you through this. I wish I could navigate you through this. I'm trying right here on 65th Street. This is the exit. We're looking on I-30 at 65th Street. This is a backup that's caused by some construction that has been going on overnight. So we saw some of this actually last week. This has been ongoing, but it's still causing some issues here on I-30. It's actually backed up for several miles, but we're looking at just that right now. Really no other problems around the metro. And you can see our drive times into downtown Little Rock, 25 minutes coming from Conway. It is a little bit slower if you're coming in on I-30 from Benton because of that construction. It's going to take you 33 minutes already, which is not fine. That means that you're going to be going pretty slow. 19 minutes though if you're coming from Cabot. That looks pretty good, Tracy.
Yeah, weather-wise, we are still talking about that heat building in right now. There's really not a lot of activity out there, but if you stepped outside, you may kind of feel like you're swimming through that humidity this morning, and we're going to continue to see that build in throughout the weekend into early next week. But we're also looking at those hazy skies. We've looked out there this morning, and you can see it is a bit hazy, but that's all because of these wildfires that we are seeing now. It's a bit of low risk right here, but you can see that is encompassing Arkansas this morning. And as we're heading through the next couple of days, it's going to continue to just kind of drape the state, unfortunately, and so that could cause some air quality issues if you have some breathing issues as well. So those hazy skies, that's what that is, and hopefully we can get that out of here before long and things will start to brighten up a little bit. But when smoke and we've got those particles in the air, it makes the atmosphere a little bit dirty. Now, what a dirty atmosphere does is makes for beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So thank you so much, Renee Lyles. This is a Lake Ouachita sunset in Garland County. And again, go ahead and send me, if you do have a beautiful sunrise or sunset, you can text that to 501-376-1111 and let us know, and we'll go ahead and just preview all of that for you and let you know what is out there. But it's heating up this weekend, so stay with me. We're going to talk about how hot it's going to be and how long that might last into next week, where all those schools are heading back.
We begin this morning with developing news. An active duty Army sergeant is in custody after a shooting on a Georgia military base that left 5 fellow soldiers injured. Now, this happened on Wednesday at Fort Stewart near Savannah. Investigators say the soldier used his personal weapon to open fire on coworkers just before 11 a.m. 3 of the victims needing surgery, but all are expected to survive. Witnesses tackled the shooter, later identified as 28-year-old Cornelius Radford. He was arrested on site and remains in pretrial confinement.
All of the families of the victims have been notified, and we're wrapping our arms around them and ensuring we provide them all the support that we can. These soldiers, without a doubt, prevented further casualties.
The Army says Radford had no prior disciplinary history, but was recently arrested for DUI, something his commanders did not know about. Investigators say they don't suspect terrorism or extremism played a role. President Trump's new tariffs took effect just after midnight, doubling duties on Indian oil imports from Russia and increasing rates on goods from dozens of countries and the European Union. Experts say these tariffs will raise prices for consumers, potentially the highest increase since 1934. Now, Trump argues the tariffs will boost investment in the U.S. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, paving the way for a possible summit between Trump, Putin, and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss ending the war in Ukraine.
There's a very good prospect that they will, and we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today.
President Trump says his talks with Putin went well, but so far, as you just heard, he has not announced any details on when or where a potential meeting could take place. The Justice Department is urging the Supreme Court to swiftly decide whether Trump's birthright citizenship order violates the Constitution. A federal appeals court already upheld a nationwide block on the order, while another is expected to do the same. If the High Court takes the case next term, a ruling could come by mid-2026. Earlier this year, the justices limited nationwide injunctions, but didn't weigh on the legality of ending birthright citizenship itself. In another update, the Trump administration is cutting $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccine research, the same technology widely credited with the slowing of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a video posted to social media, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. called mRNA technology too risky, criticizing its use in current vaccines. The move shuts down multiple research projects, including those led by major pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Moderna. Despite the criticism, doctors and infectious disease experts continue to back mRNA vaccines, calling them both effective and safe.
The advantage of mRNA is it's much faster to make than a protein vaccine. It's much more efficient. And so when you're in the middle of an emergency, like a COVID pandemic, you want the fastest thing possible, something that you don't have to wait years to develop.
Kennedy says the administration will instead focus on developing a universal vaccine that mimics natural immunity, one he claims could work against both coronavirus and the flu. Meanwhile, back here in Arkansas, UAMS now ranks in the top 10% of hospitals nationwide for cancer care. It's according to the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings. The report gives the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences a cancer score of 54.3, placing it in the high-performing category. U.S. News based its rankings on several factors, including patient outcomes, nurse staffing levels, available patient services, and the use of advanced medical technology. Also this morning, a federal judge has blocked an Arkansas law set to allow certain people to change organ donation decisions after a donor's death. The judge issuing a temporary restraining order following a lawsuit filed by the nonprofit Southern Legacy of Life. The group argues the law would disrupt the national organ donation system. The law would let next of kin alter or revoke organ donations up to 2 hours after the person's death. It also permits someone with power of attorney for health care to override the donor's registration. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin says he plans to defend the legislation in court. Visitors to Little Rock's Park Plaza Mall can expect to see more law enforcement on site very soon. This decision follows several high-profile crimes over the past year. On Tuesday, City Board members approved converting a plain gray room on the mall's second level into a public safety annex. The space will give officers a place to work or rest while patrolling the Midtown area. After a Black Friday shooting at the mall and a homicide in January, board member Kathy Webb says the annex will boost safety.
Anytime there's a tragedy, city leaders, we mourn the tragedy, but we also want to know, what can we do differently?
Mayor Frank Scott Jr. also praising the move, saying it will help make Little Rock safer and stronger. Officials expect the annex to be finished and operational within about 8 weeks. Our space exploration efforts could soon get a major boost. The Trump administration announced plans to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. A rendering of the surface power project shows the reactor with Mars visible in the background. This moon-based reactor aims to support astronauts on long-term missions, targeting a launch around 2030. However, turning these plans into reality faces challenges, especially with proposed NASA budget cuts, nearly 50% in science missions and a 20% reduction in staff. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson says the urgency is partly driven by China and Russia planning similar missions.
this is on brand for America
Right.
to do this. What's not on brand is to cut science programs, not only in NASA, but across the board, and then say, we want to excel in this one spot. Well, in the 1960s, science was a major investment profile of the United States.
NASA says the reactor will generate 40 kilowatts of electrical power, enough to supply roughly 33 households. All right, let's send it back over to Ashley with a check of the roads this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Hayden. Looking at our camera, or actually we're looking at our map right now, we're seeing a lot of green, which is a good thing, with the exception of what's going on I-30. But right now, 7-Eleven, and we're not seeing a whole lot of issues around the metro, but we're going to take a closer look at what is going on I-30. They've been doing some construction overnight, and as you can see, it's backed up just a little bit here, and traffic is moving pretty slowly, only at about 10 miles per hour here, going eastbound into downtown Little Rock on I-30. We're going to look here again at traffic. This is what you're seeing, what we were just talking about. A beautiful morning, though. So I guess all of the people that are stuck in traffic right now can enjoy that beautiful sunrise and that look over into downtown Little Rock, but I'm sure they'd rather just get to their destination on time. And speaking of that, our drive times from Conway, 25 minutes if you're coming into downtown Little Rock with an average speed of 68 miles per hour. But look at the average speed if you're coming from Benton on I-30 into downtown Little Rock. Not so great, 37 miles per hour. If you're coming from the Alcoa Road exit, it's going to take you 33 minutes. And then 20 minutes if you're coming from Cabot, so that doesn't look so bad, Tracy, but it is going to be a little bit slow coming in from Saline County this morning on I-30.
Well, luckily it's not too hot just yet, but we are starting to talk about those heat alerts again. We've gone all week without one, and they have returned mainly in the River Valley here, just a small section of it. That's going to be from noon until 8 p.m. this evening. We're going to see those heat index values of 105 and above, but tomorrow we're going to start to see that make its way eastward into more of the central Arkansas area and encompass a good part of the River Valley, again, noon until 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. So we're going to have to watch for this, especially with all the kids heading back to school. That'll start to impact after-school activities and even recess, and I'm sure PE if it's going to be outside as well. Starting out this morning, though, around 73. It is a bit humid out there, though. We're going to see those afternoons top out in the mid-90s or so, but that humidity is going to start to go up. But we're still well above that average of 92, and that will be the case for pretty much this forecast period, and those afternoons are going to feel a lot warmer as well. Today, feeling more around 98, 99, and tomorrow we're going to feel more around that 100-degree mark. Now, could we see some heat alerts? Well, it is possible. We'll talk more about what's bringing in all of that heat and how long it might stick around coming up in a few minutes.